Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's video. We are just about to the end of November. It is November 29th. Just a couple more days, and then we hit December, which in the FPHL, that's a kind of a touchy day because that's the day that these failed to report transactions need to be settled. If you're under failed to report, you risk not being able to play in the FPHL this year. So now a lot of players have already been released outright by their team because it's obvious they have no intention of playing. You know, many have retired from hockey and have gone on to other things in their lives. In some cases, it's just they weren't feasibly able to play for whichever team. So we're going to see quite a few transactions in the next couple of days. It's been strange we've seen so many trades. Trades this late, this close to the failed to report deadline is very unusual for the Fed. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Nonetheless, we have our games from last night. We have the Columbus River Dragons. They held even with PD almost all game. It was 0-0 at the end of one. It was 1-1 at the end of two. And finally, 19:04 of the third period, just 56 seconds ago, and Mike Wynn puts home the game winner past Ricardo Gonzalez. Yes, it was past Ricardo Gonzalez, not Matt Sales. This is an ongoing problem that the league has had for years now. I wish they would get fixed. I have a hard time believing that both the on-ice or the off-ice official in the building plus the person that inputs the information and double checks everything, that neither one of them can tell the difference between number 30 and number 35. This league is just not friendly to goaltenders with stats. Ask Brendan Colgan of the Watertown Wolves, who has been robbed of 15 of his wins, of his career wins, according to their official records. Fortunately, the official records are correct on sites like Elite Prospects. Anyway, getting back to this game, the Columbus Blue Liners really did a great job at limiting second chances for PD. They really weren't able to have as much time and space in the offensive zone, and it was enough to help Tyler Roy see and kick aside 38 of 39 shots for the win. And Ricardo Gonzalez, 27 to 29. But a good crowd on hand. And PD now in the fourth spot with attendance as far as average per game. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, Columbus does jump to 10-4. They are now in a tie with points with Monroe just 1 point behind Athens. All three teams play tonight. It's going to be Monroe and Athens against each other for 2 games, Saturday and Sunday. So going to be really interesting to see if there is any kind of shift in the standings in the Continental. Could be. By the time this weekend is done, either Columbus, Monroe, or Athens could be in the top spot. So that's pretty interesting. PD falls to 7-5-1, still in the upper half of the division, within striking distance, and they're not too far back behind the other 3 teams. All right. In Danbury, it was a quick start. It was 2 goals in a 6-minute, 9-second span, and that's really what made the difference in the game. Danbury able to hold on to a 4-3 win over the Twin City Thunderbirds. The Thunderbirds, there's still not a whole lot of depth scoring. Fortunately, we did have a goal by Jan Salak, his 150th career FPHL goal. That's a great milestone. But yeah, basically, if you go in and you're able to handle the top line, shut down the top line, of Gus Ford, Zach White, and it's usually Roman Kramer, well, that you have a good chance of winning. And Ford still factored into every goal for Twin City, but he didn't have as many opportunities to shoot the puck as he usually does. So Danbury was able to take the top line kind of out of the equation. Zach White did have an assist, but there you go. Rest of the Fed. That's your key to beating the Thunderbirds. But anyway, the defense continues to struggle. Although in the latter 50 minutes of the game, I thought the defensive unit played well for the Thunderbirds. So Sebastian Reesar, he turns aside 28 shots and gets the win. Pretty balanced attack by the hat tricks, despite losing Drew Welsh to a call up to the SP. You have Alexander Legov, Vadim Frolov, and Johnny Ruiz all getting a goal and assist. Again, Ford with the goal and the 2 assists for Twin City, factoring into every goal that Twin City scored. But there you go. It was really that fast start by Danbury that made the difference, because it was 2-0 at that point. Twin City finds themselves kind of behind the 8 ball. So right now, Twin City 4-9-0. The Danbury Hat-Tricks get a much-needed win after a 3-game losing streak. They are 6-8-2. All right, in Watertown, this game was really a lot closer than the score indicates. Yes, 4-1. Binghamton gets the win, but I thought that this would be a close game. Both teams really getting a lot of good chances. The difference is Dominic Tmej for the Binghamton Black Bears, getting his 4th win on the year. He was a difference maker. He just made a couple of extra saves that Brendan Colgan wasn't able to make. And in some cases as well, it seemed like he got lucky, Tmej that is, where maybe he was a little out of position and the puck just goes wide, or something just incredible happens where, how did that not go in? A stick gets in the way or something. But yeah, so that's why I said Tmej, and Jeff Barrett calling the game, he also said the same thing. Tmej was lucky and good. Sometimes you got to be good, but sometimes you get a little lucky. But yeah, good pressure by both teams, a good flow to this game. And Binghamton just comes out on top, 4-1. Zach Sirota, his first game back from a lengthy stay on IR, but nonetheless, he's back now. And he gets a goal and assist, even as the 10th forward for the day. So good on him. Tmej stops 30 of 31. Stephen Klink was the lone goal scorer for the Watertown Wolves, and I'm sure that at the end of the game, they all felt like they should have had a lot more. Just didn't happen. Brendan Colgan stops 33 of 37, 600 plus on hand in Watertown. All right, so the Bobcats, they have been needing to get back on track. They get a win over Indiana. Indiana is just in this spot right now where they're playing okay. They're not playing bad hockey. They're not doing anything fundamentally wrong to hurt themselves. It's just the other teams are finding a way of getting past Indiana. And it usually happens with a couple of goals scored quickly right next to each other. And again, that happened with Blue Ridge Bobcats. Let's see, it was at one point, Indiana had gotten themselves back into the game. It was 2-1. And then just 33 seconds later, Robin Erickson scores. Quick strike. And Indiana's back behind the 8 ball. Now, Indiana did tie things up. It was 3-3 for quite a while. But then right at the end of the second period, is Justin Daly and Carson Andreoli scoring a minute 3 apart to break that 3-3 tie. And yeah, goals and bunches, that's what dooms Indiana in this case. And the Bobcats able to go on to a 7-4 win. It was a great game, though, for Max Marek Tortorella, or as I call him, Max Torts. It's a lot easier, and it kind of rolls off the tongue, too, Max Torts. But anyway, he had 2 goals for the game. Also, Vladislav Pavlov had 2 assists. Indiana, decent amount of shots, 36 shots. They were just overtaken in shots right towards the end of the game where the Bobcats really poured things on. The shot difference in the third period was the Bobcats 15, Indiana 7. So once the Bobcats had reclaimed that lead, they were going to make sure that they weren't going to let Indiana back in the game. But nonetheless, a 7-4 victory, a good crowd on hand. Don't forget, Indiana's arena only holds 1,000 people, so 824, good crowd, and that was good to see. When Indiana fans last saw their team back in October, the team was in complete disarray. Since then, the ship has been righted. Everett Thompson's got the team playing well. They're a lot more entertaining to watch, and it was good to see after a long road trip, 8 games in a row on the road, that the Indiana fans came back in force to support their team. That was very good to see. But yes, 7-4. Brandon Reller, a goal and 3 assists. Kyle Heitzner, just back from his 5-game stint in the SP, scores 2 goals. And Hunter Verasta kicks aside 32. John Werber, he played pretty well. I thought there were some periods of time where it looked like he was just uncomfortable, surrenders a goal, and kind of took him a little while to kind of get his mind back into the game. So, again, Bobcats able to take advantage of that. Stops 30 of 37. Indiana now 1-13-1. Again, not playing. They are not this bad. It's just they're just not getting over the hump. The Bobcats, they've been back and forth all year. They were now 7-7. All right, so the brawl down in Baton Rouge. They have an impact on the game? No. And that speaks volumes. Zydeco, they just jump all over Josh Rosenzweig. Not his game. He just did not have a good game. He gets pulled. In comes Garrett Johnson. This is the first time we've seen Garrett Johnson this year, and he is perfect, 25 of 25. So Biloxi fans, I saw this morning as I checked really quickly some of the pages, and everyone was saying, hey, why haven't we seen more of this guy? Granted, it's just one outing, but after the Zydeco put up a 6 spot and then you shut the opposition down, that says good things about Garrett Johnson. So there you go. In just a little over half of the game, he's perfect. But this game, the second period especially was a disaster for Biloxi. And a lot of people have been asking, what's going on with this team? You look at the roster, you look at the names that are on this roster, this team should be better than this. There are a couple of things until the last couple of weeks. Quite honestly, the defensive has been lacking. They didn't have a big name defenseman. They did sign Dustin Perrella, they acquired in the trade Dustin Perrella, and Perella's worked with Coach Charlie Pens in the past. But so that's going to help. The main problem I see is this team just reaches streaks of time where they just don't skate. They get badly beaten out of position. by the opposition. They're just not skating. And that, if you're not moving your feet, you're not moving forward, you're not able to give yourself opportunities. Hence, that's why you see so many games with the Biloxi where you have a big shot differential like this, 50 to 24. We've seen Biloxi turn on the Jets for small periods of time. And, you look at them and say, wow, this looks really good. But they're just not sustaining it. So in this game, Dmitry Kuznetsov, he starts scoring early. Then it's Richard Dorina getting his first FPHL goal. Congratulations to him. Caden Henry does tie he didn't tie things up. He gets the Breakers back in it at 2-1 late in the period on a power play goal. So Henry's still among one of the top scorers in the league. He's in the top 5. But anyway, the Zydeco, then they just turn it on, and it's 4 straight goals. Scott Schirach, Austin Weber, Nick Catola, and Jake Cox all scoring in a 5-minute and 13-second span. And that was the end of the night for Josh Rosenzweig. In comes Garrett Johnson, and you had that. Now, we did have one last goal, shorthanded. Carter Thornton scores for the Breakers. The Breakers really allowed themselves to get pushed around, and the Zydeco were a lot more physical than I think anyone expected. So in the third period, as soon as the puck drops, the Breakers express their frustration. It's a line brawl. Everyone on the ice, except for the goalies, get into it. 122 minutes handed out in penalties at the 1 second mark of the third period, as 4 members of each team were given the 5 for fighting plus a game misconduct. So that was 122 of the 168 total penalty minutes in this game. And if you're Biloxi, you're hoping that fires up your team, and it just didn't happen. In the third period, the shots were 18-7 in favor of the Zydeco. Again, you're not skating, you're not moving. You got to get a little fire under your feet. And I'm guessing that the thought was by the 5 that were on the ice when the gloves got dropped that hopefully this was going to light that fire, and it just didn't happen. So tough times for Biloxi right now. Zydeco, they break a 9-game losing streak. And very, very glad to see Chad Bailey get another win. So Biloxi is now 3-10, 3-10-1. Zydeco 2-7-2, and these teams face off again tonight in Biloxi. Will we see a different kind of game from either team? We'll see. Excuse me, the final game of the year. And before we talk about this, I want to say thank you to the Topeka management and actually starting a game early. I turned on the game, and we're already 4 minutes in. I was like, whoa, what happened? So, it's tough. It's nobody's fault. It is the way it is. The central time zone teams like Biloxi and Baton Rouge and Topeka, it's tough for those of us on the East Coast to stay up and watch a game. But, I do anyway. But it's nice when this kind of thing happens where they say, okay, everything's set. Let's just drop the puck and let's go. So, very good. Now, something happened in the communication between the off-ice officials and the league. So we didn't get an accurate stat count on the shots on goal. It was 8-4 with about 4 minutes left in the second period, and then shot clock I don't know if the shot clock wasn't working in the arena because I wasn't there, or I don't know if the person who was tracking shots took ill or what happened. But anyway, yeah, it was shots on goal. Well, we don't know. So I am going by the stats that Will Wiggleman put up because he is very reliable. He's very good at tracking stats. And so I'm going to trust him and say this was the shots on goal. Port Huron definitely outshot Topeka by quite a lot. Topeka just not able to get over the hump of playing physical and then, creating opportunities to free up their offense. Just didn't happen last night. And so, yeah, Port Huron, they're getting shots on goal. They're peppering Sammy Bernard. And so, yeah, they end up with a 5-1 win. It was 2-1 at the end of 2, and then, 3 goals in the third. So, yeah, it was Reed Cooper, everything but one. Yeah, he blocks and gets puts away. But that goal at the end of the second period, it was Bobby Price scoring at the 1950 mark. It is a killer when you give up a goal in the last minute of a period. It really does something to you psychologically when you go into the locker room fresh on surrendering a goal that fresh. That kind of hurts, and it just didn't seem like Topeka was the same team the rest of the game. Prowlers had tons of opportunities. I unofficially figured, because I didn't besides not catching the whole game, I did watch the entire third period. I tracked 16-8 in shots for Port Huron. That was just me. So I had a little pad that I was just marking, and whether that was actually the shots on goal, who knows? That was just my stat. Good crowd on hand for Friday night. The Prowlers, they improved to 11-5. They're only 5 points behind Binghamton. They're staying right there. Topeka, they fall to 7-4. Not a terrible fall. They're still locked in the third place. So, things are not all bad in Topeka. It's just this was not their best game. This was not their best effort. But there you go. Penalty minutes for the game. And this kind of also helps Port Huron's cause. 22 penalty minutes for the Port Huron Prowlers, 63 for the Scarecrows. And a lot of those minutes were, of the misconduct variety. So it really didn't give Port Huron an edge. But the main point is they were able to control themselves, stay out of the box more. And as a result, they were able to really work on their 5-on-5 game. And they did well with it. So there you go. Bobby Price gets that game winner. So that is our day in review. Oh, yeah, one other thing I wanted to say, because a lot of people made a comment that was like, whoa, what happened here? There were only 3 officials in this game. There was the one referee. I didn't write his name. Darn it. But Steve Cook, he was slated to be a goaltender, and I'm not sure what this means. I'm just saying what I was told. I was told he was not cleared to take the ice. Does that mean he was there in the building? I don't know. But anyway, we had some old time hockey. Now, the FPHL uses a 3 official system. I think it worked for the most part. Yeah, there were some calls that were missed, but I don't think it was anything that would have really made a huge difference in the game. But it was interesting. It's been a while since we've seen a game officiated by merely 3 as opposed to 4. I'll see if I can find out what happened with Steve Cook. probably am not going to find out. And that's one of the things that are kind of tight-lipped. But nonetheless, there are your games for Friday night. We will be talking about Saturday night. We got 7 games on the slate for tonight, especially that Monroe-Athens matchup. With this rematch going on, it's going to be really interesting in the Continental Division. All right, so there you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the new subscribers that continue to roll in. Really had an influx of new subscribers since really about the end of October. And thank you to all of you. Tell a friend. Let them know, hey, Fed League Flash is here. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit like as well. And make sure you're following me on Facebook as the news comes across, as it happens. I let you know what's going on in Facebook. All right, I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. I will be in Binghamton tonight, and I'll have my 3 screens in front of me. Can't take my home computer with me, so I'm down to 3 screens, but then the game I'm at is the 4th game. So anyway, I will be watching, and you guys have a wonderful rest of the weekend. We will catch you again tomorrow.